Excuse me. Are you Emily? I'm Officer Johnson. I need to ask you a few questions about the accident you were involved in. Can you tell me what happened?
I was driving home from work and suddenly everything felt foggy. I couldn't focus and next thing I knew, my car collided with another vehicle.
Were you under the influence of any substances at the time of the incident?
No, I don't drink any drugs and but I did take my medication earlier in the day.
What kind of medication?
I've been prescribed medication for anxiety by Dr. Patel. Could that have caused the accident?
I understand how difficult it's been for you, Emily. I'm going to prescribe you benzodiazepines that should help you with your anxiety and insomnia. Just to be sure, to take it only 3 times a day and doing heavy work and avoid doing heavy work until you know how it affects you.
Can you describe what you saw?
I was stopped at the intersection when I saw Emily's car swerve into upcoming traffic. It was like she wasn't even aware of what was happening.
May I ask what time did you take medication and do you have the dashcam recorder?
I have taken my medicine at 2:30 p.m. after my lunch break and I have the dashcam recorder.
Can you send the moment of collision to me for investigation in 24 hours?
I think it won't be a problem.
Based on the evidence on your dashcam, Emily, it seems that your medication may have played a significant role in the accident because the time of accident is 3:15 p.m., close to the time you took your medication. But I'll need to gather more information before determining your results.
I never imagined that taking medication prescribed by my doctor could have unforeseen consequences.
Rise. This court is now in session. The case of the people, Mrs. Emily, will now be heard. Prosecutor?
Your Honor, the defendant, Emily, is charged with reckless driving, resulting in a car accident. The evidence presented will show that the defendant's actions were direct cause of collision.
Your Honor, my client Emily is not guilty to the charges. We intend to present evidence that the defendant was involuntarily intoxicated at the time of the accident due to prescribed medication.
Very well. Let us proceed with the testimony.
Officer Johnson, can you describe the events leading up to the accident?
Yes, I responded to the scene of a car accident involving the defendant. Emily, based on eyewitness accounts and the evidence collected, it appeared that the defendant's vehicle crossed into oncoming traffic, resulting in the collision.
And did you find any evidence of intoxication at the scene?
No, there were no signs of alcohol or drug impairment. However, the defendant mentioned that she had taken prescribed medication earlier that day. Officer Johnson, did you investigate the type of medication the defendant had taken? Yes, I obtained information from the defendant regarding a prescribed medication for anxiety, which is benzodiazepines. Did you consider the possibility that the medication may have affected the defendant's ability to operate a vehicle safely? Acknowledge that the medication may have played a role, but further investigation is needed to determine its impact on the defendant's actions.
So Sarah, can you recall what you witnessed at the accident scene?
Yes, Your Honor. I observed the defendant's vehicle veering into oncoming traffic before the collision occurred. It seemed as though the driver was unaware or unable to control the vehicle.
Thank you, Sarah. No further questions.
The court will now recess for deliberation. We will reconvene shortly to announce the verdict. Very well. Let us proceed with the testimony.
Prescribed medication to the defendant Emily for her anxiety. Can you explain the instruction you provided regarding the medication?
Yes, Your Honor. I prescribed benzodiazepines to Emily to help manage her anxiety symptoms. I specifically instructed her to take the medication 3 times a day according to the medication dose, and I warned her about the potential side effects, including drowsiness and impaired cognitive function. I advised her not to do heavy work or drive until she knew about her medication affected her.
Did the defendant know or acknowledge and agree to follow your instructions?
Yes, she assured me that she understood and would comply with my recommendation.
Dr. Patel, did Emily express any concerns or difficulties with the medication during your appointments?
She did not mention any issue with the medication during our appointments.
Thank you, Dr. Patel. No further questions.
Officer Johnson, based on your investigation, did you find any evidence showing that the defendant was under the influence of medication at the time of the accident?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant admitted to taking prescribed medication for anxiety earlier that day, and the time gap of medication taken and accident is close.
Did the defendant show any sign of impairment or confused at the scene?
She appeared disoriented and confused, and her statements were inconsistent.
Thank you, Officer Johnson. No further questions.
Your Honor, the evidence presented clearly demonstrated that the defendant, Emily, disregarded the instruction and warning provided by her psychiatrist, Dr. Patel. Her neglect led to reckless operation of a vehicle resulting in an accident. We urge the court to find the defendant guilty of reckless driving.
Your Honor, while it is unfortunate that the accident occurred, my client Emily was not aware of the extent of her impairment at the time of the accident. She trusted her doctor's advice but may have misunderstood the medication effects. We ask for leniency in light of these circumstances.
The court has considered the evidence and arguments presented. It is evident that the defendant, Emily, neglected the advice and instruction provided by her secretaries regarding the prescribed medication. Her action constituted reckless behavior that resulted in a serious car accident. Therefore, the court finds the defendant guilty of reckless driving.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The court is adjourned.